With the introduction of the coronavirus at the beginning of 2020, the whole world went through major change. But one of the biggest things that's changed is music, live music, going out to dance, connecting with other people. On today's show, we're going to speak to a special guest who is part of the dance party music scene, and he's going to talk to us about the changes that have happened in Australia and globally. Hi, welcome to the Secret Men's Business Podcast. This is Joey Buzzertool. And on today's show, we're going to be speaking to Dean Murphy, and he's going to be talking to us all about his dance parties and his music and his interpretation of how the music scene has changed through coronavirus in 2020. Dean, how are you?
Joey, how are you?
Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us.
My pleasure, absolutely.
It's becoming a bit of a habit, isn't it, seeing people on Zoom?
Well, yeah, this is the new now. It's the new way we're going to do business for a lot of people. So yeah, it's interesting.
But it's also the new coffee shop, and it's the new street that you bump into someone. It's the new place where you talk to a stranger. It is. It's weird, and it's only been a short time that we've been in lockdown. But I feel like now, if I had to go back to the real world, I'd have to do probably an adaptation course.
Yeah,
because
totally.
So before we start talking and looking at how COVID killed the dance party star, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself and where your history, where you've come from?
Okay, so I have been running dance parties in Melbourne for 16 years, which is, you get less for murder, but it was one of those things I fell into. I had been working in radio for a long period of time, so I'd run a lot of radio events, and then one thing led to another, and I always had this fascination with music. I'd been around music for forever, I used to go to dance parties, and my introduction to dance parties, I was a bit of a late bloomer, so I didn't really go to my first dance party until I was about 26, 27. And what I realized out of that is I had this incredible fascination to, I saw what was going on, and because of my event background, I was like, oh, I wonder whether I could run one of these things one of these days, because I just love the concept of putting music and entertainment and just this incredible atmosphere to create excitement and, a little bit of escapism for people, that they work really hard Monday to Fridays, and they've, life can be a bit of a slog, and this 8 hours of escapism in beautiful music and surroundings and lights and lasers and entertainment, we just sort of gravitated towards. So started running my first one in 2000 and just at the end of 2003, 2004. And it was quite an experience. And I was only ever going to run one. That was the thing. I never had this, there was never a desire to do it ongoing, but you do one that was successful, you go, oh, we'll do another one. And I always said to myself, the day I have a disaster, I will give it up.
Yeah.
And it just kept going and going and going. So,
did you get validation from yourself? Like, did you go, oh my God, I love this? Or was the validation from the punters? Or was it from everyone that made you go?
I've only ever seen it as I only ever wanted to see people have fun and excitement. It wasn't about money. If you're going to do it for money, you would never do it. I mean, it's hit and miss, and you have good ones and ones which don't make so much, and and it was one of those things that I went, I just love seeing people dance to amazing music, and just their faces as they leave, they walk in happy, but they walking out still happy is a really great thing. And I suppose I got addicted to the process of hearing those crowds roar at the end of shows and just cheer and just being invigorated and just coming out going, God, I met so many people, and just, the young gay guy who's never been to a party before walking in and going with just nerves and walking out going, wow, that was amazing. So those kind of things, it's hard to put down because you're just getting this incredible vibe off a lot of people all the time.
Yeah, and I guess you would also know a lot of people, wouldn't you? I mean, Are you good with remembering? I mean, you must meet a lot of people.
I'm really good with faces. I'm really good with faces, and if someone tells me one thing about them, I will always remember it. But names, I've always been terrible with.
Yeah,
it's one of those. Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's kind of like, I do know a lot of people, but when I came out, I was 27 when I came out, and I only had one gay friend.
Okay.
So for that period of time, from 27 to if you look now where I've run the biggest gay dance parties in the country, it's like that's a massive shift. And I just loved, when I came out, I saw what I've been around straight clubs for years and straight bars and whatever, and the energy levels were completely different, and that's what I fell in love with.
I was going to ask you. We'll come back to the current time, but let's just go back to, I think that what you do is creative, right? So you obviously have a creative element to you.
Yep.
Did you notice, or did you have an eye, like when you were looking at things? Are you churning over ideas, and did it come easy for you, or did you find that you had to, like, it was a process? Because when I meet creative people, I could tell that. So I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know when people can just come up with ideas like that, and it's good
Yep.
ideas. Is that what you are?
Yeah. So I'm very creative. Like, I love the creative side of things. In fact, I like the creative side of things more than the business side of things. I've never been a great business person in that area, but the creative side I've always loved. So when I would have an event coming up, and every event had to be different, and every event had to have a pinnacle part of it which people would go, wow, that was amazing.
Every time,
right? But it was the thing, the catch thing, creative flair that would have them coming back for the next one, right? So you'd come up with different sort of, okay, what's the theme of this next party we're doing? Especially with the party I did in Sydney, which was Day Wash, we always had different themes. So having that, in the early days, I tried to make sure that every single person had that experience of that one thing, but you can't do it, right? Because you've got multiple rooms. And so what I did was I tried to come up with little concepts in each spot of the venue that people go, oh, well, did you see that happening? Oh, well, did you see that happening? Oh, did you see that major show that took place? And, it's coming up with new, fresh things all the time. And I mean, realistically, dance parties from way back in the days with the docks, the old shed parties and whatever, Red Raw and all that kind of stuff. They haven't changed all that much. It's just that, everyone's seen a big show at a dance party, but it's how you do it differently the next time. What do you add the next time? What creative stuff can you throw in there? And that's always been the challenge, and it's something I've really enjoyed.
I was going to say, we're really quite blessed because in Melbourne we've got you, and then we've also got Nick from Trough, who does the same thing. Yep. We've got this like really creative team. I wasn't going to talk about the docs, but you brought it up, so let's go there. So I just wanted to ask you, just as a timeline, because I agree with you in regards to that they haven't changed, but I think the people have changed, right? Like the docs were
absolutely 100%.
The docs were underground, right? So what would be some of the things that you've noticed that you see? What are some of the changes that you've noticed with the way that people integrate with dance parties and music from, say, the 90s to say before COVID?
Yeah. So the dock parties were, the shed parties down there were the biggest. That was huge. They would have been like 6,000 people. And it was at the time when there wasn't a lot of other dance parties around. In fact, it was pretty much the only one. There was a Red Raw, there was Winter Days, and there was
an Easter one. Oh,
there was
Resurrection.
Yeah. And so
and New Year's Eve.
And great parties, amazing parties. But it was really, the gay scene was, we're still trying to find acceptance, at that stage. So those big parties were a chance for people to get together to hear, because also, trance was finding its feet towards the latter half of the 90s, and lasers and all that kind of stuff came into play as well. But the sheds worked because it was this celebration. It was a chance for people to come together and celebrate. And you hear people talk about, I met so many friends, and I really got lost in the whole atmosphere, and it was just big. It was big entertainment, big shows. In this dirty old shed with no air conditioning,
but it was also a little bit secret, wasn't it? Like,
it was still very much. It was still very much underground, if you like. In those days, it was still, the gay scene was still trying to find its acceptance, and so having those big parties were just next level. And after that, there was. Some parties came into the marketplace, the Magnitudes, and there was a couple of other little ones on the side. So what people started to do is go, well, this is amazing. This atmosphere is amazing. Let's create a lesbian party, or let's create a more a leather party. And so the Beyonds and all those kind of parties came about. And
Mm.
Redemption was another one, which is leather fetish parties. So there was
Yeah.
all these little offshoots.
Yeah, and do you
Which
think that was because of the was it a more a business idea because people saw that there was money to be made, or do you think that the need of the punter became that they wanted more?
I think a bit of both.
Right.
Actually, I think the punters wanted more. They didn't want to just have 4 a year. And if you couldn't go to two or three of those, then people were sort of going, well, I really love that atmosphere. And so there became a marketplace for it.
Mm.
Now, there was some good operators, and then there was some dodgy operators, and people who did it for the right reason, and people who did it just to make money.
Yeah.
Now, and you could tell those parties apart. You can tell when someone's heart's in it to create an atmosphere, or you can tell that someone's just trying to make money out of it.
Yeah.
That's the way it
Yeah.
is.
And
Um,
music? What about music? Did when trance? You're right with trance. But once I remember when I saw trance being played on Saturday morning, that music show that was on Saturday
yep,
mornings, I thought, oh my god, like this dance party music's on commercial television.
yeah,
I sort of my gut sort of churned with going, oh my god, it's no longer a secret.
yeah,
It's
and
now
that's
getting out.
well, totally, and that's the thing. There's something about having that underground taboo feeling that we all felt back then in the docks. It was like, something. It was almost kind of naughty to be there,
Mm.
and so when the marketplace opened up and all of a sudden became these other events on. It did change the dynamics of it. And did it affect the Red Raw parties and the Winter Day parties? Yes, it did, because there was more in the marketplace. So the days of getting a 6,000 people event for the LGBTIQ community was few and far between. So it's kind of like, I think it did evolve and change. I mean, trance music came in, and there were some parties around town, the Magnitudes, doing trance music at the time. Now, the thing with trance music is, after 5 years of them doing that music, it didn't really evolve all that much. So
Okay.
trance was great at the time because it was all about the lasers as well, because
Mm.
lasers had just really found their feet.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden became this whole visual experience. And
You're making me have all these deja vus right now.
yeah, I know.
Because and like I've got lasers behind me. No, but
Totally.
I really liked trance because I loved the lasers, but I really loved the journey of the music going.
Yep.
I don't know what that's called, but that whole slow down,
Yeah,
build
and
up, build up, build
but
up, build up.
that's predominantly what it is. It's a journey, and
Yeah.
and that was amazing at the time because it would take you on a journey with the lights, the lasers, and all that kind of stuff as well. What happened after that is we started running our party, which was the Rawhide parties,
Okay.
just at the tail end when Magnitude people were wanting something different. And
Mm.
so we used to go to those parties, and at the start, love them. But then what we did was, I would see people getting a little bored because they wanted something different, and they wanted more vocals and more whatever. So what we
Yeah.
did is we went, okay, well, we have to invigorate them now because they've all seen lasers now, right?
Yeah.
We all know what a laser does, right? So the journey of visuals and whatever we had to change it and
Mm.
evolve it into, right, we have to make these people dance. We have to make them, we've got 8 hours to wow them, and we have to wow them with this music. And it has to be incorporating not only the visuals and stuff, but this vocally charged music that people can really embrace. And by doing that, we change, the dynamics change. So the trance that used to be the main room of these parties became our side room,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
And
can I just ask? Do you think that again? These questions are coming to me because of the fact that I was part of that transition. I
yeah,
know for myself that I loved the docks, but then once these little marketplace clubs opened,
yeah,
what I really loved was the intimacy. So, do you
yeah.
think that the culture with music and with I think people became more sophisticated with dance parties. They wanted to maybe move away from that bigger party where it's maybe a little bit anonymous
Yeah.
to more of the small. Do you think that's also the case?
Yeah, yes, it was as well. But you've got to look too, because we're it's interesting. There's so many little demographics within the gay scene. So all of a sudden, yes, the big ones would bring everyone together as a celebration, but the little ones tailored it around what your style was.
Mm.
right? So, all of a sudden you'd have the Beyond parties, which were full. If you love leather, that was the place to be,
I love
right?
those parties.
Redemption, same thing. If you like fetish and whatever, that was the place to be. What ours was ours. We based ourselves on very much if you were the professional person who didn't go out a lot but loved a dance party, and we had a lot of the gym boys and all that kind of stuff. It was all very much that. It feels weird saying it now because we try and tailor it around being inclusive with
Muscle Marys.
Yeah, well, we try and tailor it around being inclusive with everyone.
You are talking about a long time ago.
Oh, absolutely. It was when that was the thing. It was predominantly a boys' party, but everyone was welcome. But we would just you had to have your point of difference then, because Beyond had to have their point of difference from Rawhide, and Rawhide had and there was. It just became there was a lot of things starting to happen in the marketplace. Yeah. So we got about 5 years of Rawhides, and then I branched out to do a group of parties, which was the road parties, because that took people on the road.
I had no idea that was you.
Yeah, so so the road parties were designed basically I set them up because I thought there's all these beautiful venues in town, but we don't, as the gay scene, we don't get to use them. So I went, right, every time we do a party, we're going to take them to somewhere different so they get to experience a new, fresh venue with, and we tailor different sounds to each venue and so forth. So, people got to see some incredible venues around town, which, a lot of them don't even exist anymore. But at the time, it was really special. And did some of them, were some of them amazing? Yes. Were some of them dodgy? Yes. But they allowed people out of at the time there was only the Market Hotel, the Exchange, Diva Bar, whatever. Northside, they had their venues, but people were doing the same thing over and over again. This gave them a chance to get out and try different things. That was the journey there.
Yeah. So with that, firstly, I want to know: were you all you guys friends? Say the Beyond guys and all. Did you guys sort of collaborate, or was there this division? And secondly, because you would have been cutting edge, pioneering stuff, did you notice that there was, say, probably straight promoters coming to sniff around and learn?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? So Magnitude was actually run by a straight couple,
right?
Okay, and so the crowd. Yes, there was when we started doing our thing. There was that we networked with everyone knows each other. That's the thing. You all know what each other, and you would go to each other's parties. It's a small town, isn't it? But you were fighting for. There was a big crossover. So you were fighting for similar audiences.
Well, you were. One thing that I loved about you guys is that either you were playing on the same night, but I thought that there was respect, because I noticed that there would be one person on Sunday night, one person on Saturday night. I'm thinking, oh, look, they're talking to each other. I had no idea if you were or not, but I thought that was respectful, because if you did have a party on the same day, you are competing, aren't you?
Totally, and that's the thing. And then you would. It was like a sort of an unspoken agreement with a lot of us that we do our own thing on different nights. But you know what happens? Things change, and people are scratching for more of an audience, and so then all of a sudden there's multiple things in the marketplace, and everyone's like, right, oh well, they've got the best day, so we're going to now go on that day. So there became a bit of in-house, sort of, I don't know, that no one would say it, but you were chasing the same audience. If you could get them over, because at the end of the day, you had to pay. But I've never held back with performers, entertainers, and whatever. My attitude has always been they all need to get paid, so we've got to make this thing work. We book them in. There's no not paying them because you didn't get a crowd. You have to pay these people.
Right? And as a punter, I guess I remember at the beginning when that happened, we would buy tickets to everything.
Yeah.
Right, so we would go, we spent 3 hours here. But then as time went on and they became more expensive and you wanted to have a better time, you did have to become loyal. And so there was this sort of loyalty sort of thing. But there was probably, in my group anyway, we went to all of them.
Yeah.
Because we were both leather and lace.
So that's the thing, and you want the best of both worlds. So, our music styles were completely different. The Beyond music was still much into the trance. We were playing very much your house music, and it was really, they were really, really different brands, which was great. But like you said, there was crossover of people like yourself who went, "Oh my God, where do I go? Where do I put my money?"
I didn't really care about the people. I just cared about the music and the leather thing was hot, but the reality was it was still people.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
still people.
and they still want to go to your party too. So it's like some people were very no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Well, other people thought no, I can actually enjoy both.
Yeah, and I think that's the beautiful thing about what ended up happening is there was a lot of choice for people.
Yeah,
and for a long period of time, it was great. The punters had a ball because they were I as a promoter couldn't put my ticket price up too high because that might be the difference between someone coming to mine or going to the other one, which was $10 cheaper.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden it became like, hey, this is good for the punter because they had a choice and they could get value for money.
Yeah. Do you think that going back to what I said earlier, did you think that what the gay scene was doing did influence the straight scene? Because remember they were.
Yes and no. Yeah. I think what they did is, as far as the big parties are concerned, look, I used to have straight promoters come to my events and go, wow, that's insane, because we give our crowd so much. Okay. You go to a straight a party and there's not the bells and whistles. And, to be quite honest, I've been to a lot of straight festivals and a lot of, Stereosonics and Summer Days and all those things. Yes, they were great. Our music has always been better. I'll say that point blank. Our music has always been more emotive, more like just more inspirational. And I feel like, when straight promoters come to my events or straight DJs come to and play at my events, they always walk away going, wow, what an incredible energy. Which is
so they must have wanted to sort of implement that, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they want to copy that?
I think we've all realistically, I think we've all stolen ideas off each other. It's kind of like, oh wow, that's great. I could maybe tweak that and throw that in. So, but yeah, straight promoters, I would say the ones who have gone to a lot of the things like Mardi Gras, for example, is incredible production. So if you're a straight promoter wanting to find out what can I throw in, that's a great party to go to.
Yeah. Okay. So here we are now, 2020, and coronavirus hit. So I know we don't know and we can't predict. Well, first, I guess let's talk about what's happened. How has it impacted your business, that whole scene? Like what's happening?
Well, for the moment, it's gone. It's interesting because none of us when we heard about it. The last party I ran was Candyland in Sydney. 2 weeks later, we were in lockdown.
Yeah.
And the first restrictions or whatever, and people saying, "Oh no, what this is? What's happening?" Had it been 2 weeks prior, Mardi Gras wouldn't have gone ahead. Candyland wouldn't have gone ahead. Everyone would have lost their money.
Yeah.
And so I had to cancel my Easter party because we went into this the first stage 1 restrictions or whatever they were. It feels so long ago, I can't even remember. But it is. Now we look at it and go, well, when is it going to get back to normal? Because, from my point of view, I look and I go, even if they said New Year's, which is unlikely, I hate to say it, it's unlikely that New Year's is going to open up. But even if they said, okay, we've got this thing under control now, New Year's, we're going to open up. There's a problem I have with the end result there. Are people going to be in the headspace after we've just spent nearly the better half of most of the year in lockdown? Are they going to feel comfortable throwing themselves back into that environment of 1,000 sweaty bodies on a dance floor?
Well, what I see on Facebook, the answer is yes. Because but the thing that I was thinking about is, I mean, I think they do want to go, but the thing is that are they going to trust themselves to go?
Yeah, everyone wants to go. Everyone wants to go back to it. But will they actually be at a point where they feel comfortable being in that, there's a lot of people saying to me, well, is it even going to open up until we get a vaccine? Now if that doesn't happen, say that's another year away, that's almost like nearly 2 years of no dancing.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I know people are worried about not going to gyms and all that kind of stuff, but not having social connection through music and dancing is unheard of. We haven't been through this.
Have I told you what I do? Have I told you what I think
Do
I
you
told
dance in your office?
No, every Friday I have what I do is because I'm listening to you, and music is one of the biggest things that I guess has impacted my mental health,
Mm.
because I've been in lockdown because I'm unwell and I can't leave. So I've been in, this is like 200 days. So every Friday I have
Wow.
a watch party.
Yeah, right.
So that's the social thing. And then what
Yeah.
I do is I look for a festival or a dance party in Europe. And like, I don't know if you've seen some of them, but some of my favorite DJs have been doing the most bizarrest things, like doing DJ sets on a hot air balloon, or,
Yeah.
So I've been playing
They've been
those.
creative.
Yeah. So I've been playing those live, and that has saved me. The people that want to do that come along, but then there are also the people that just don't want to look at it because they're still caught up in what's happening.
Yeah.
But I think that, we need to seek freedom or some sort of way. It'd be great to be dancing on a dance floor, but you can still find ways. Now,
Yeah, totally.
hypothetically, if it does go on for another year, is your creative mind thinking? Are you coming up with
Yeah,
other
already.
ideas?
Well, yeah, because you kind of like as a promoter, and it's kind of in your blood. You're looking for that opportunity to go, right, what are we going to do when they do open the doors, right? And the thing with it is, you know, I hate to say it, but in this time where when you've got the this unexpected downtime, is when your creative juices kick in, because you're thinking about, hey, when they do open up, what are we going to give these people? What are we going to do? What can we change? What new things can we throw in? Because you're going to have to reconnect people to their souls with music. It's like and to me, I'm like, I want to be able to. They do open the gates, when they open the gates, it's a chance to, because don't forget, there's also an audience who were at the end of their partying days, got hijacked a little bit early, and there's the younger ones. Now, imagine being an 18-year-old who's allowed to go to the nightclubs for the first time and have been knocked at the knees, chopped at the knees.
They've got anxiety and they're like really angry.
Yeah, and this is the thing. So I think it's up to whether not just me, but all promoters right across, whether it's the Poof Doof guys or whoever it is, Cam Shafati, all of them need to be thinking about what can you do to lift their spirits once this thing opens up, because it is through music. I guarantee you, it's through.
So you're saying that there's a connection between mental health and music?
Oh, totally, absolutely, 100%.
Because I'm a little bit surprised I'm not seeing more music being, played out. Maybe I'm not on. I mean, I've just discovered Twitch. Twitch. Yeah. So like, I have a friend of mine who DJs in Sydney. He does it every Sunday afternoon. So I listen to that. So I'm surprised. I thought I'd be seeing more. I'd be seeing more lives or whatever.
Live stream. Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe
there is a problem because a lot of people have started to do it on Facebook, and Facebook they chop it off.
Right.
It's a licensing thing with music, so I think a lot of them started doing it and went, I've just been cut off again. Twitch is a different platform. I've got a mate of mine who runs That Rainbow Guy, which is all gay DJs every Saturday night, and it's a really good. It's really good house music and just commercially viable stuff, and it's just good to feel. If you're trapped in your house, so sick of Netflix. Having a couple of drinks with probably the only person you can have a drink with, and just being able to hear some cool tunes is amazing. And I really think people should tap into it a little bit more, because it does. I don't know. It makes you hungry to go back and do it all. But at the same time,
I was one of those older people that was ready to retire, but since coronavirus, I feel like I'm back. Because I've just rediscovered DJs like I've never heard before. And it's only because I've been locked up. So what would you suggest to people that aren't connecting? And I guess the answer is quite easy, but the ones that are sort of stuck in being afraid or anxious
with music.
No, just with coronavirus, and they're not listening to music. What would you suggest in regards to how they can sort of be a bit more freer?
I honestly think it's one of those things with COVID. COVID has it's a really hard one, because we've never done this before. Like we've never done this. We've never been in this situation before. I honestly feel, for me personally, when I started to get a little scratchy, and I'm a very social person. Like I'm an extrovert who needs to be around lots of people, and all of a sudden I'm in my apartment with my dog, and I started to go through this bit, my own sort of anxieties or whatever about wow, like I just want to connect with people. But what I did is I made a pact with myself that every day during COVID I was going to walk.
Mm.
Right, I was going to do at least 10,000 steps, and I was going to play music the whole time, not talking on the phone, not looking at social media, just listening to beautiful music. And I guarantee you, it's the thing that's kept me in this positive headspace for the whole time. Because and I highly suggest that anyone who's going through some negative, you've got to force yourself out there to do it.
Yeah.
But hey, the weather's getting better, and it is just this amazing thing. There is so much incredible music out there.
I
That
totally agree. Like
yeah,
yeah, I get that. That's why I said to you, I feel really fascinated that people would rather get angry online and have
yeah.
debates rather
Forget
than,
it.
yeah, forget it. Like, and you mentioned
Yeah,
Netflix, like I chose to turn it off.
yeah,
So I replaced it with DJ sets. So
yeah.
I want to be a DJ now.
Yeah, well, and this is
I'm
the
not
thing.
going to be.
No, but this is the thing. You know what? I think it's for people too, because I know you've always loved music. I know you've been to a million of my events, and I also know that it's an opportunity for people to express themselves now. Find that thing. Like, why hold back? We're all been in lockdown. Just if you want to do it, go and do it. If you want to dance in your lounge room, if you need to dance in your bedroom just to express yourself, go and do it. No one gives a shit. No one
Yeah.
cares. You've just got to get back to being in a positive headspace. And
Yeah.
I
And
honestly feel,
grounded. Yeah.
yeah. And a lot of people used to, with our events, they'd work, looking forward to that party, work. And I'm going to choose a new outfit. I'm going to get all ready and whatever. And it's this build up, and then lose themselves in this amazing atmosphere for 8 hours. We don't have that. We might not have that for a while. So
Mm.
build it yourself.
Yeah.
Create
And
your own little
yeah.
atmosphere.
And I mean, like that's a good pep talk because I do think that there are people like us who get that, and then there are people that are experiencing something for the very first time.
Yeah, totally,
Like
absolutely.
so that's where this group is really important to help men with mental health
Yeah,
because they don't
and
have any, they've never really had anything to
no.
compare it to.
And the other thing too is, I love this group. I love this group. I think you've done such an amazing job with it, and you should be so proud of yourself, Joey, because it's really important. Because there's so many people I know who don't share, and it's that sharing part and just expressing yourself and being able to speak the truth and be authentic. It
Yeah.
is so important, and we don't have that ability at the moment to go out and dance and express yourself or be in that sort of atmosphere. So groups like this is incredible, and just it's okay to be feeling like shit. It's
Yeah.
okay.
To be vulnerable.
You don't have to be right at this point in time, but
Yeah.
there's little things like throwing on some music, go and have a bath and just put in some beautiful music and whatever. I honestly feel music for me, because I've spent the better half of 16 years trying to invigorate people with music, is the key to keeping for me, your mindset at an all-time good level.
Yeah, high frequency. It's a frequency thing. Music
Yeah,
is a
it's
frequency.
absolutely
If
100%.
you're going to be like thinking negative stuff, it's going to keep you low. So I want to quickly ask you one last question, which I know lots of people are curious about, and I'm a little bit secretly curious about.
Mm.
So if someone was looking at being an up and coming DJ, right, DJ
Yes.
Joey,
DJ Joey.
where do you suggest people discover new music? Like, I always find it interesting how these DJs have like new stuff and go, oh my God, like look at that, listen to that. What's your recommendation for a person starting?
Look, I think what you need to do if you're getting started in the business, there's a whole bunch of sites which have new music, but sometimes it costs to actually download that. You might want to just start off small. There's heaps of DJs online. The best thing you would do is if you are keen to get started and you've got a DJ that or you've been to see, or it's a bit of a someone you love their music. Tap into them, send them a DM, and just really, find out. Just ask them the questions, because they want to mentor you as well.
Mm.
It's a really good community. The Australian gay DJ scene is such a community, and they all embrace each other's successes.
Yes,
So,
like Scott Anderson's like a little bit of my coach.
yeah. So for new DJs, find out what sites they actually gain their music from, and just start. You can't. If you start and you just find your feet and you're playing your bedroom, and then you know what you do when we open up and restrictions open up a little bit, grab a couple of friends, have a barbecue, and just play to them. right? And then just find your feet and then build up and then play to a little bit bigger and whatever. I love new DJs. Like I've run a DJ comp every year for 16 years, trying to find new DJs. And then when they win, I get them to play at the party.
Wow.
Right? And so to me, that's so exciting to see new talent come through, because new talent brings new sounds.
And new ideas and new ways of seeing
new ideas and it's incredible. So I just start small and just get out there and do it. If DJ Joey wants to gig,
DJ Joe will be playing at the next party in 2022.
Yes.
And like, look again, I don't think it needs to be about being successful. It's just about doing it yourself. Like, really, we have tools now, don't we? You don't really need to buy expensive equipment. You could use GarageBand or any of those things to just to play around. And you know, when you do listen to a new tune and you just love it and you go, "Oh my God, what is that?" It is exciting when you know it's not on the radio. It's just a discovery that you've had.
Totally.
And so you want to share it with people. And I think that is there has to be a new evolution with the way that music is shared as we go through the rebirth of whatever we have to rebirth.
Yeah, totally. And I think the thing is, you know, DJs are what they have to go through to get a set together. No one really understands how hard that is to, you know, listen to. You know, you've got to go through so many new tunes and so much music to find the one that has the perfect remix for what you want, for the sound that you're looking for. You know, it is quite intense, but wow, when you deliver it to a crowd that is, you know, hands in the air, just going crazy for what you've done, that's an incredible feeling.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, there's one DJ that I've just discovered. He plays 4 songs at once, Dean.
Yes,
like 4 songs, and he perfectly grabs what we need to hear from all 4 songs. I just think it's amazing. But Dean, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your secrets and information. And, you know, we have to trust that we're going to get through this, right?
Yeah, we're going to get through it. This is just a moment. It will pass, and we'll be, you know, the clubs and as long as they're still around, the clubs will open up again, and we will all dance again. And I can't wait for the first one that we all get together and just feel comfortable. You know, life is getting back to where it should be.
I reckon there'll be tears. We'll be crying in happiness.
Absolutely. Well, that's my goal, is to make you all cry in a really good way. So, yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Joey.
So you've been listening to the Secret Men's Business podcast. The podcast will be out at Monday at 9 a.m. So check it out. And also, please click the subscribe button below so you get all notifications of all podcasts and all YouTube clips being released every week. All right, guys, have a great week. See you next week. Bye.